Guys, what is going on? Blossom is back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Now today I got a question for you, okay? This shirt I'm wearing over here, is it gray or is it green? Because a lot of people think it's green. I think it's gray. So let me know down in the comments below what you think it is. But anyway, I am doing a video that a lot of people have been asking me to do for a very long time, and that is the best possible daily hand for every single daily that is in Top Drive. There are 31 different variations of the daily, and to be completely honest, we've had the same rotation for years and it's getting really boring. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's the daily. Who actually cares about it? Like, you have one person that gets first, so that's why I didn't do this video for a while. But a lot of people kind of want to know out of curiosity, and you know what? For curiosity's sake, for science, I'm gonna tell you, in my opinion, what I think are the best daily hands for every single daily in the 31-day rotation, okay? So, obviously, this is just the intro. Like, I wish this was the best daily hand for something, but it isn't, because I have all these cars max. But oh well, let us begin with day one. We have 2010s times 5, and this is, in my opinion, what I think is the best daily hand. Now, let me tell you right now, when I mean the best, I mean the absolute best. I mean that you can have these cars and you have to max these cars. So if you're gonna ask me, oh Blossom, why are there no super lights anywhere? It's because I'm taking into account the absolute best daily hand, in my opinion, if you can max out every single legendary you're running. Now, once again, I don't own all these cars. I don't own the Pikes Peak, for example. So this is really based off, you know, shout out to Iksu, shout out to Brench, shout out to Korn, shout out to Ambang, who helped me with this list. But like I said, this is kind of all of our minds, you know, coming together in conglomeration to make up in what our opinion is going to be the best daily hand for these 31 days. So 2010 times 5, the notes is going to be, it's all asphalt dry for this daily. It's all low. It's mostly twisty. And the pretty interesting thing is that they're 3 hairpin sets. And it's the 3 hairpin sets that really makes the Koenigsegg 1-1 stand out. Initially, I was actually going to put in the McLaren Senna, but Iksu told me that he always first plays this daily, and he has a maxed out Koenigsegg 1-1, along with maxed out everything else. The other cars that we're going to see over here is the Bugatti Chiron Sport, the Pagani Revolution, the Apollo Intenza Emozione, and the Volkswagen IDR Pikes Peak. This video is going to give you a good inclination of what are the absolute best prize cars in here. I think the 918 literally only shows up once, which is really sad. Alright, moving on to day 2. It's 2-seaters times 5, and on the notes for this daily, it's asphalt dry. There are 2 drag sets, and the rest are all twisty. Now, as you can see, there's a times 2 and a times 2. This basically counts how many times you're going to see the Zonda Revolution, or just any car in general, and let's see which is the car. Comment down below which you think is the most reoccurring car that is used to get you first place in the daily rotations throughout the month, okay? So day 2 is 2-seaters times 5, the Pagani Zonda and the Polo Intenza Emozione. They both come back because they both have, you know, MRAs in the high 90s. They have high 90 handling as well, low 0 to 60s and good top speeds. The Remax C2 makes its first debut alongside the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute and the McLaren Senna. Moving on to day 3, it's Italian cars times 5, where we have asphalt dry once again, 1 medium. Now this is an Ocean City Streets medium. This is where the Lamborghini Urus, if you can max it out, will beat the second best option, which is either the Stelvio or the Grande Punto. It really doesn't matter, because if you're not first, you're last. And of course, the rest are a bunch of hybrid tracks. Once again, the Pagani Zonda Revolution. 3 days in a row you're using this bad boy. The Lamborghini Urus makes its first appearance, along with the Alfa Romeo 164, the Pagani Zonda R, and the Lancia LC2. Moving on to day 4, the best possible hand in our opinion is the rear-wheel drive times 5, which is the Pagani Zonda Revolution again. 4 times in a row, man. This is how useful this thing is. The Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute makes its second appearance, alongside the debuts of the Jaguar XJ9, the Peugeot 905B, and the Peugeot 908 HDI. Notes on this final, or not final, daily is that it is asphalt and it is dry and it is low. There are 3 slalom sets and there is 1 test bowl set. Now remember, I'd rather be using the Peugeot 905B on a slalom if you have it maxed over a super light. But to be honest, a lot of people run the super light on this daily anyway, because not a lot of players would have all these 5 cars maxed. I would say a decent amount of players might have all these 5 cars. If you're a whale, you're gonna have 5 of them, but I doubt not all of the whales would have all of them max. But yeah, Pagani's on the Revolution, just flying away. 4 appearances out of 4 days. Absolutely insane. But it's not gonna continue because day 5 is French cars times 5. And the best possible hand, in my opinion, is the Bugatti Chiron Sport, the Bugatti Chiron, the Peugeot 208 WRX, and the 905B and the 908. So 3 cars are making their second debut in the Bugattis and the Le Mans winners. And the notes on this final is that it's really just bloody fast. You need fast cars for this. MRA heavy, waterfront track sets, waterfront drags, and then it's asphalt and it's dry and it's low. Day 6, we move on to 2,000 cars times 5. This is one of my favorite dailies because I have all 5 of the cars over here. In a way, you can say you can just collect all the Thanos rings. I mean, let me think about it. Day 5, I'm missing the Chiron. Day 4, I'm missing the XJR9. Day 3, I'm missing the Zonda R. Day 2, I'm missing the Rimac. And day 1, I'm missing the IDR. So I've had 4 in every single one, but French cars times 5, ironically, 2,000 times 5, I have all 5 of them. Notes on this one is all asphalt, it's all dry, it's twisty, 1 drag, 1 hybrid track set, the rest are all twisties. So we have the Peugeot 908 coming back for the 3rd appearance, and it's the first time for the other 4 cars that we see over here. Now, ending the first week is day 7, German cars times 5. Now, this one I'm pretty weak in because I only have 3 out of the 5 cars in the best possible hand. There's going to be the Porsche Panamera Turbo and the Audi Quattro S1. Both of them are needed because they are 2 medium track sets. It's asphalt, it's dry, and it's also very MRA heavy, so you're going to be needing the IDR Pikes Peak. The Porsche 918 comes in for the first time, and I do believe this is the only time you're going to see the Porsche 918, which is really sad for an RQ100. And the Apollo Intenza Emozione makes its 3rd appearance because the handling on this thing is insane. Now, moving on to day 8, it's standard tire times 5, one of my favorite ones as well because this is the super fast standard tire daily. There are 2 kinds of dailies for standard tires. One is really fast, one is more twisty orientated. This is the fast orientated one. This asphalt wet and dry with 2 fast and North Loop track set, so you can't use DS numero 9s everywhere. I think the best end in my opinion is 2 max out Cadillac 16s, a CT6 for the hybrid track set, an I-Pace for the other hybrid track set, and of course you have the DS numero 9 that will win you the 3 twisty track sets out of the last track set, which is 4 North Loops, so the numero 9 is probably going to lose on that one to cars like the CT6 and the I-Pace, but I think that this overall is the best hand. Now moving on to day 9, it's UK cars times 5. Once again, I have 4 out of the 5 cars, missing the Jaguar XJR9. Now, as you guys know, this was the only prize car, I would say. The Jaguar XJR9 is the only legendary prize car I went all in for and I didn't get. I got 11th place. Most of the time, if I put all my eggs in one basket, I get the prize car because I'm that competitive. But the Jaguar XJR9 is probably still today my 2nd lowest moment in top drives. My lowest moment will always be the Camaro Z01 Elite, no matter what. But yeah, day 9 UK cars times 5. It's 3 off-road, 2 asphalt, twisty track sets, and there is gravel, so you cannot run 3 off-road tires. But then again, UK cars and off-road tires, there's like no versatility over there. The best thing is the MG Metro 6R4. There's no legendary off-road tire cars, but you can use the F-Pace SVR for the gravel track sets, and you have the Ford Escort Rally Spec for the other off-road. And the 2 best legendaries, in my opinion, would be the Jaguar XJR9 and the McLaren Senna, if you can max them out. Moving on is day 10, 1960s to 1990s times 5. We have the Pro Car and the XJR9 coming back. XJR9 for the 3rd time, Pro Car for the 2nd time. This is a super cursed track set because the Porsche 959 and the Bentley Ono DR are actually really useful in this one, mainly because it's asphalt, wet and dry. There's 2 dry and 3 wet. You need 1 medium ground clearance. It's Ocean City streets once again, not Vanilla City streets, so you want to use the 959 for that higher top speed and lower 0 to 60 for that final stretch on the Ocean City streets. And you need a 4-wheel drive fast because it's 4-wheel drive fast circuits everywhere. So you know the Peugeot Oxia is obviously really good because it has the MRA, but the Bentley Ono DR ain't bad either because it has slightly better handling and lower 0 to 60 compared to the Oxia, and it's better on the wet, mainly because it's one of the few cars from this time frame that actually comes with traction control and ABS, and therefore I think that the Bentley Ono DR actually has a daily where it will shine, and it's this one. Okay, but you have to max it out. Moving on, day 11, this one is super cursed. It's the USA off-road one, no variation whatsoever. It's Raptor or die. That's it. 3 Raptors, once again, 1, 2, 3. It's the only time you will see them, but you can see all 3 of them over here. We have a Ram Rebel, which is the better version of the Raptor, but you can only get 1, obviously. And the Dodge Durango SRT, which is just a slightly better Trailblazer. So there you go for the drag sets. All right, moving on now is going to be day 12. It's Saloon times 5. Okay, so 3 wet, 2 dry with twisty dries and a 4-wheel drive fast that is required. But for the 2 dries, I like to run a maxed out M5 competition, which is the best saloon in the game, which is non-prize, and the maxed out Alpha 164, which is coming back for the 3rd time. We also see the return of the Cadillac CT6 and the DS numero 922, and of course 2 M5s because they're in the same place. Now moving on, day 13. This is the worst daily. Comment down below if you think there is a worse daily. I think this is the absolute worst daily. There is no perfect hand for this daily. Nada. Zero. I've seen a lot of people give a lot of different insights and perspectives from this daily. I've seen some people, they like to use Suzuki Pikes Peak on the dry. Some people like to use it for the off-road track sets. The problem is, right, the Pikes Peak, the problem with this track set is that the Pikes Peak isn't that useful off-road because, yeah, there are a couple hill climbs where it's good on, but there are also track sets with motocross. There are also track sets with city streets, and then I want to use the Bluebird. You gotta have to use the Bluebird, but the problem is there's one track set with 2 motocrosses, so you have to run the Pikes Peak on road if you want to use the Bluebird off-road, if that makes sense. Because if you use both the Pikes Peak and the Bluebird off-road, and you get that track set with 2 motocross cities track sets, 2 motocross tracks, then you're gonna lose one of the races by 250, which is ridiculous. So this is the worst one. This is the worst one. I hate it so much. As you can see in the notes, 3 off, 2 on. It's a cluster. Yeah, and yeah, I just hate this one. Everybody hates this track set. But after discussion with the guys in my Discord server, I decided to go with this for the best hand. So the Pikes Peak comes back for a 2nd time. Is it the 2nd time? Is it only the 2nd time? I thought I saw it like 3 times by now. I guess it is only the 2nd time. Okay, Pikes Peak comes back for the 2nd time. We see the introduction of the Lancer Evo 8, the Bluebird, the Patrol, and the Infiniti QX70 takes up the off-road sectors. Now, I know that Korn uses the Patrol. Brench uses 2 QX70s, but the 0 to 60 on the hill climb track set. So I took the best of both worlds. Run 1 QX70, 1 Patrol, 1 Bluebird. And yes, I am the kind of person that will run the Pikes Peak on the dry. I know some people run them on off-road, but I've actually top 10 this daily quite consistently. And most people in my brackets would run the Pikes Peak on road rather than off. All right, moving on to day 14, 4-wheel drive times 5. It's the one where it's just raining men. It's rain everywhere. 1 medium is required with no slicks. We see the introduction of the Koenigsegg Yamera. The only time you're gonna see it, the Rimac comes back for a 2nd time, Pikes Peak for a 3rd, Evo for a 2nd, and DS numero 9 for a 3rd as well, because that is one of the best standard tire twisty cars in the game. Moving on to day 15 is going to be, I'm going to take off my watch because Siri has been listening to me talking for the entire time because Siri thinks I'm talking to her. Alright, day 15, 2010 times 5. We are halfway through, so the rotation kind of repeats. I hate the 2nd half more than the 1st half because the 2nd half has the hatchback one and that one sucks for me. 2010 times 5, Tokyo track sets, 2 test bowl sets. You want versatility cars in here, and we have returns of everything. 3rd time for the IDR, 5th time for the Zonda, 3rd time for the Bugatti Chiron Sport, 2nd for the Chiron, and the 4th time for the Apollo Intenza Emozione. You see now, you see why now I see so much value in the Intenza Emozione. This is why. All right, moving on, day 16, 2-seaters times 5. The return of, once again, the Intenza, the Zonda, the Senna, and the C2, and of course the Caterham RS Levante. Did we talk about the Levante before? I don't even remember mentioning the Levante once. When did the Levante show up? It was the UK one, wasn't it? Where's the Levante? Ah, yeah. Oh, did I talk about the Levante in this? I think I did. Such an irrelevant car, I didn't even mention it. But yeah, the Levante comes back for the 2nd time. This is a very twisty track set. There are no drags over here. It's basically a bunch of twisty stuff. If you can max up the Caterham RS Levante, it will beat the Superlight on the slalom. So there you go. But yeah, you gotta max it out. But like I said, this is the best possible hand if you can max everything out. Moving on, day 17, Italian cars times 5. This is the one where everything is wet, but you can use 1 Pagani because there's a 1 mile track set where the Pagani with like just much better MRA would just take names. And this is Lamborghini era, basically. Lamborghini territory. Best ones I would say, Sesto Elemenzo, Huracan Performance, Centenario, sorry, Veneno, and of course Pagani Huayra BC just for that 1 drag set. Moving on to day 18. 18, it's 5+ seaters times 5. 3 off-road, 2-1. This is SUV, baby. And rest in peace to the Demon, because if you remember, the Demon used to be classified as a 5-seater, and I actually used the Demon here because there were 3 drag sets for the on-road sectors. But unfortunately, that isn't the case anymore. So we see the return of the M5 competition 3 times and 4 times, because that's the best car to use twice. You can use 2 Stelvio Quadrifoglios and 1 Lamborghini Urus. Moving on to day 19, the best possible hand is the 1985 to 1994. This is a 962 simping hand. Obviously, if you don't have any of the prize cars, then the best possible hand here would be using 5 962Cs. No, sorry, 4 962Cs, because there is 1 wet track set, but it's wet fast. You're not required a medium ground clearance car, and that's why we see the return of the Peugeot Oxia, and it's all asphalt as well. 4th time coming for the Alfa Romeo 164, 3rd time for the XJR9, 3rd time for the 905B, 1st time for the 962, and the 2nd time for the Oxia. Moving on to day 20, my most hated daily, I would say, no, 2nd most hated daily after the Japanese one. Actually, no, you know what? This is my most hated daily, because at least I can finish in the top 10 for the Japanese one, but for the hatchback one, no, this is the daily where I genuinely just finish in 80th. Like, I just farm it at this point. It's asphalt dry, 1 medium is required, and like I said, help me. A lot of fast tracks that's over here. We were talking about how many cars I have. I have 4 or 5 of the cars in every perfect hand, for the most part. I mean, they're all not max, but at least I have them. But for this one, I only have 2. I have the Peugeot 208 WRX and the Peugeot 205 T16. I don't have the Lancia ECV, the Delta, or the Renault Sport Megane Trophy, but this is my opinion, is the best. I don't know why the ECV is not in HD. It's so blurry. I don't know why. Moving on, day 21, rear wheel drive times 5 comes back, Tokyo track sets, and this one is subjective, because this is the one track set where there are 3, where 75% of the track set is dry, but there's 1 track set with wet. It's just all wet. So I've seen people run like just a bunch of slick tires and they throw caution to the wind, because honestly, the odds are in your favor to get the dry track sets more than the wet track sets, and slick tire cars are usually going to beat your performance tire cars any day. So usually for me, what I do for rear wheel drive times 5 is usually I would run Blossig, because I have Blossig maxed. So I would get Blossig, because Blossig would be the Jesko on all the fast stuff that, you know, has some turns in it, because my Blossig is max, and most Jeskos I face are usually stock. Not stock, but 1-star. So I would use Blossig, and I would use, like, the Senna, or either the Polo Intensa Emozione, and I run 3 slick tire cars. So like I said, this one is subjective. You can run slick tire cars here, just bear in mind, you will know that for 1 track set, you would get absolutely destroyed on. So in terms of the versatility, I'm using all performance tires for what I think is the quote-unquote best hand, and that is going to be the Polo Intensa Emozione, once again, coming in for the 6th time, Koenigsegg for the 3rd, Jesko that is, 1-1 coming in for the 2nd time, Senna for the 4th, and the P1 GTR makes its debut. 21 days for the P1 GTR to come into light. Crazy. Day 22, it's French times 5. It's asphalt dry with 1 drag, and this is the Alps track set, a bunch of mountain hairpin mountain track sets kind of stuff with 1 drag. So the Chiron Sport coming back for the 4th. I gotta say, man, Chiron Sport's been in the game for a really long time, but you've been needing it 4 times in the dailies now, making it pretty good, to be fair, still, even though the Rimac and the IDR are better. The Peugeot 208 coming back for the 3rd, Chiron coming back for the 3rd, 905B for the 4th time, and 908 HDI coming back for the 4th time around. Day 23, 2000 times 5. This is the one with the double city and the double drag, with all dry asphalt. The Pikes Peak is also considered as a dragster / twisty car, coming back for the 4th time, and the 2 Bugattis. Whenever it's 2000s, whenever the daily is 2000s, you just run the 2 Bugattis. The Lancer Evo 8 comes in for the 3rd time, and the Lancer Evo 10 comes in for the 1st time with its debut. Day 24 is Germany times 5. This is the off-road with 2 on-road sectors. Hybrid drives is what you need, and the Apollo is OP over here, because this is the 7th time we needed the Apollo. Now, if I remember correctly, there is a 75 to 125 track set on this one, so that's where now IDR comes in. It will be a beast. IDR comes in for the 4th time, Apollo comes in for the 7th, Quattro comes in for the 2nd, and we see the debut for the Apollo, for the Opel Kadett, and the Porsche 959 Dakar for the off-road sectors. Day 25, we see standard tire times 5, and like I said, this is the twisty one, okay? There is 1 fast track set, so that's why we put in 1 Cadillac 16 for the 3rd time, and we have 1 I-Pace, because the I-Pace beats the DS Numero 9 on the twisty circuit and the fast circuit. But everything else, the DS Numero 9 will take names. So if you can run 3 of them, you're golden, buddy. So for the 4th time, the 5th time, and the 6th time, the DS Numero 9 comes in, taking the French majority in this daily, that's why I call it in my notes, Le Bleu. Alright, moving on, day 26, UK times 5. It's all asphalt dry. It's a bunch of drags, and they're 2 test bowl sets. This is a very fast one. You basically only need 1 semi-twisty car, which is going to be the Caterham RS Levante Caterham. And then we have the 5th induction of the McLaren Senna. That doesn't make sense because induction usually means first, doesn't it? Jaguar XJR9 comes in for the 4th time. McLaren P1 GTR for the 2nd, and of course, the Bentley EXP 100 GT. I gotta say, man, we've had 2 Bentley prize cars in the best possible hands for the daily. Like, kind of impressive. All right, moving on. Day 27, 1960s and 1990s, all asphalt dry, mostly twisty. Hello, Le Mans. We have the Pro car coming in for the 5th, the XJR9 coming in for the 5th, the Lancia LC2 for the 3rd time, the 905B for the 4th, and the 962, which is in Japanese porn quality, the 2nd time running. Day 28, USA times 5. This is the one that I think that I can first place, but I never do because I don't have a Ford GT Max, I don't have an Acura NSX Max, and I don't even own an SCG. This is the one where I just run all my Vipers on, and I just hope for the best, really, because all my Vipers are maxed. But yeah, the GTSR and the Challenger SRT Demon, those 2 are the best cars to use because there is a 1/4 mile on this track set and a 1/2 mile as well, where it will beat the SCG. There's 4 dry, 1 wet asphalt hybrid, where a Max Acura NSX should beat the Cadillac CT6. Actually, should. It will beat the Cadillac CT6, but there are some people that run the CT6 on this one as well. The CT6 is very good, especially if you don't have a maxed out Acura NSX. And yeah, once again, horsepower. So this is the best hand that you can get. I wish that I could tier 1 this daily every time, but I can't because realistically speaking, I only have 2 out of 5. I have the NSX, I have the Ford GT, but they're all 1 stars, and I'm using Hollywood and Bollywood still. All right, moving on. Day 29, Saloon times 5. This is the annoying one where there are 3 city streets, but there are only 3 city streets on 1 track set, and the other 3 track sets only have 2 city streets. So you can gamble it if you want. You can run 2 city streets. I've seen people do that. And it's asphalt dry. So Alfa Romeo comes back for the 6th time, M5 for the 5th, Lancer for the 4th, Lancer Evo 10, which is a non-prize epic, very impressive, coming back for the 2nd, and the Porsche Panamera Turbo coming back for the 2nd time running as well. All right, moving on, day 30, Japan times 5. We see ourselves 2 wet, 3 dry. This is the penultimate daily. The last one is going to be 4-wheel drive off-road. Not like the other one. This one is actually, a competent daily with competent track sets. 1 drag, 1 hybrid. The Pikes Peak comes back for the 5th. The Nissan R390. The Zanavi makes their debuts alongside the 787B and the Nissan GT-R Nismo. Moving on is 4-wheel drive times 5. The final daily, day 31. It's sand. It's all sand, but beware of the Canyon. The Canyon is a little bit MRA orientated, and it is off-road supreme. I like to run the Suzuki Pikes Peak on the Canyon one, and the off-road tire cars will run everywhere else. Now, the Pikes Peak is an outdated picture. I do believe it has off-road tires now. I do believe because I don't own it, but I think it does now. Lancia comes back for the 2nd, Peugeot for the 4th, the Peugeot 405, however, for the 1st time, the Pikes Peak for the 6th, and the Peugeot 205 T16 coming back for the 2nd time. I'm so sorry, I forgot to put the number for that, but I think we did see the Peugeot once before, so the T16 for the 2nd time. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for today. That is the best daily hand for every single daily, all 31 of them. We need a change, man, because we need some European Revolution in here, we need some Great Exhibition in here, some American Frontier times 5. Why do we see repeats after day 15 when they can just make 15 new ones? I don't understand. But yeah, people have been asking for a new daily hand since the beginning, but Hutch doesn't care about them. Hutch doesn't care about the daily. They don't care about the daily, and they don't care about clubs. That's just the reality of the situation. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too. Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville
Pontiac.
Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville
Atlantic.
Blonde hair, don't care, look like Leslie Brooks. Pin up girls everywhere with the drop dead look. Swing it side to side as we slow